Now for the original post. A few months ago, me, female 28, and my sister Eva, female 33, realized that we were both pregnant. She was about 6 weeks further along than I was. She's been struggling with infertility, so we were all happy for her. I have an older son, male 2, with my husband, 32 Menners. Sadly, a couple of weeks ago, I lost my baby. We told my family. They were all supportive, but I did sort of pull away from them. They would have tried to avoid discussing Eva's baby around me, but I didn't want to overshadow her, especially since she's wanted this for a long time. I also didn't want to be reminded of my own loss whenever I saw her. So I haven't been to my parents' place for Sunday dinner since, or really spent time with Eva, which we had been doing a lot before. I replied vaguely to any messages about my absence. Wasn't the best communication from me. Yesterday, my parents were hosting a family dinner for my dad's birthday. I'd been thinking about going because I missed my family, and while of course, the pain of losing my child has not faded, I'm at a point where I can at least put it a little to the side to be there for my sister and my new niece when she is born. So I let my family know that we would be coming. However, we had to get a gift for my dad, and then my son had a bit of a tantrum, so we got to my parents' place about an hour late. I wished my dad and then went to the kitchen, where my mom, Eva, and my seals were. But before I went in, I heard them say my name, so I stopped. My mom was saying something like, "Well, I guess Ope's not coming," and Eva said, "What did you expect? She probably changed her mind and is just staying home again." Honestly, I'm sorry for her, but you would think she was the first woman to ever lose a kid, and it's not even her first kid. They then kept talking about other things, but I just wanted to leave. I went and got my husband, who was with my brother-in-law, dad, and brothers in the living room. I told my dad I was really sorry, but we needed to go. They all protested, but my husband could see how upset I was, so he didn't. We got my son and left. When we got home, I just kind of cried for a while. My husband asked me what happened, and I told him. He was angry that she said that, but thought we shouldn't have abruptly left because my dad had been looking forward to seeing us, and my son missed his cousins. After this, I was feeling conflicted. Later, my brother texted me saying my dad had been really upset about us leaving and brought it up at dinner, which caused a whole fight because Mom and Eva realized that I must have heard them talking, and my dad was mad about it. My brother said that it was pretty bad, and he wished I had just stayed so none of it would have happened. Obviously, Eva didn't mean for me to hear that. They were all just frustrated that I'd been AWOL for so long. Now I feel bad because I didn't mean to ruin dinner. Obviously, what Eva said was hurtful, but I can see how my actions might have led to her saying something out of anger, and I could have talked to her about it later instead of just leaving. IDK, am I the idiot? Now for a few comments. One commenter said, "Grief has no time limit. Recovery from a miscarriage sucks because of hormones, pain, and suffering emotionally. The fact that your family thinks you needed to seemingly suck it up and get over it is ridiculous. So no, you weren't wrong for taking time in dealing with your loss." Another added, "Your closest people should support you, not talk behind your back when you are not there. People grieve differently. They should have been happy that you are at the stage you are ready to socialize." Now for the update 4 days later. I've started looking into grief counseling, now that I feel like I can at least talk about it. As far as she's told us, my sister hasn't had a miscarriage before. She just had trouble getting pregnant to begin with. From what my brother told me, my sister and mom didn't admit to saying anything. They just kind of looked at each other once my dad mentioned me leaving, and he noticed and asked about it. Then one of my siles, who was also in the kitchen, mentioned what they said, and my dad got mad. My other brother was also apparently angry with them, and it just turned into my mom and sister trying to defend themselves, my dad and other brother yelling, and my brother, who texted me, trying to stay out of it. Hi everyone, I want to thank you all for the support and feedback on my last post. This update is mostly about a few different conversations that I had. I took your suggestions and called my dad, apologizing for leaving early. He completely understood. We talked a bit, and he asked if we could go out to lunch this week because he missed seeing me, so we made plans. Then, I talked to my husband and told him that I didn't think I could have stayed and still thought leaving was the best thing for us. He apologized for invalidating my feelings and said he would have liked for us to spend time with family, but not at the cost of my mental well-being. He offered to call my brother, not the one who texted me, to set up a playdate for our son with his kids so my son could see some of his cousins, which I appreciated. Later, my mom called. I guess my dad told her we talked, and she apologized for taking so long to call, saying she felt ashamed and didn't know how to talk to me. She said she wouldn't have let Eva say that if they'd known I was there, and that she didn't mean it. Eva has been hormonal and frustrated, and my mom thought calling her out at that point would have just made things worse. She felt terrible for hurting my feelings. I thanked her for the apology, but told her I needed more time before meeting her. After this, Eva texted me and I wanted to hear her out, so I called. She apologized a lot and emphasized that she didn't mean it and regretted saying it, attributing it to the same thing my mom had. Apparently, she and brother-in-law also had a big fight about it when they got home, which delayed her talking to me. We had a long conversation in which she confessed that she had a few early miscarriages before they even told us she was pregnant, but she felt she had to keep smiling through it, which made her slightly resent how I was handling my situation. I told her I was hurting and keeping my distance so she could enjoy her pregnancy. She felt bad for misunderstanding and thinking I was shutting everyone out. I assured her that this wasn't the case. I hadn't let anyone in, and with her being pregnant, it was tough for me. I wished her luck, but told her I hoped she could understand why I didn't think I could be there with her. She was sad, but agreed. We talked more, and by the end, things were better. I texted my family group chat with a long message about how I was feeling and why I would be taking space from meetups, because I feel I need it after this. While the apologies eased my mind, and I can see myself forgiving them in the future, I am still hurting, and I think right now I need to spend time with my husband and son and handle my grief with a professional. Thank you all again for reading this, and I hope this answers your questions about what happened next. Hope you all have a fantastic day. Now for a few comments. A commenter said, "I'm glad you're taking time to heal and that your family is supporting you in this." Another commenter noted, "What stood out in your mom's apology was that she said she wouldn't have let her say it if she knew you were there. That means that they be talking about you behind your back and thinks it's okay for your sister to say those things. Continue to take your step back and heal and frick them." Then another commenter sarcastically added, "Yes, no one should be able to express themselves or their frustrations about anyone else ever, especially when they are already emotional or going through things themselves and may say things they don't actually mean. OP should apologize for talking about her family behind their backs." Lastly, a commenter shared their perspective, but saying, "I wouldn't have let her say something extremely insensitive and offensive if I knew you were around to hear it. Absolutely sounds like, I'd let her say it as long as I knew you weren't around to hear it so that there's no backlash to her hurtful words." Mom essentially just said, "Sorry you heard your sister being mean and insensitive toward you." Not, "Sorry your sister said something cruel about you." And it makes it seem like she'd let her talk shoot about OP without defending her daughter as long as OP isn't in earshot. Pregnant or not, what the sister said was abhorrent, and the mom's apology was only for OP hearing it, not about it being said in the first place. Am I the idiot for cutting off my father after he stole my identity and ruined my credit? My dad called me on Friday, which was weird because we really only talk around Christmas due to his domestic violence issues when I was a child. He told me last year he took out a $25,000 loan in my name. He said he needed it to pay off his credit cards, but he's run them back up again. He said he wanted to at least give me a heads up as I was probably going to be sued by the loan company because he can no longer make the payments. He never apologized for taking the loan out in my name, and he told me to say that I was hacked. I felt sick to my stomach. When I checked my credit, I saw my credit score tanked by probably 250 points from where it was last July. 5 missed payments, a loan that I owe about $24,000 on, and I just broke down crying. This has never happened to me before. My mom and sister are both out of the country until the start of next week, and I'm lost. I can pay off the loan in cash, but I don't feel like I should have to, as I never took it out. Now for a few comments. One commenter advised, "Call the police. You're the victim of identity theft, plain and simple. It doesn't matter who did it or what your relationship is to them. They broke the law. Now they have to face the consequences of their actions. Freeze your credit to make sure it doesn't happen again. Monitor and track your credit. Warn anyone else who might be a victim, and take the police report to the credit bureaus. Don't take identity theft lying down, even if it's someone close to you. If you let them get away with it, get ready for 5 to 10 years of bad credit, collection agencies coming after you, lawsuits, etc. It's frustrating how easy it is for someone with your social security number to take out a huge loan in your name. If you pay off the loan, those missed payments will haunt you for 7 years. Of course, he never apologized for it. He's not sorry. He probably just doesn't want you going to the police, thinking some rando stole your identity when it was him. Go to the police. Follow the steps above. Cut off contact with your dad unless he wants to text you to admit to it again." Then OP replied, "Probably exactly what I'm going to do. I'm just freaked out." Another commenter added, "That's understandable. Unfortunately, if you don't report it, not only will you be responsible for this loan, there's nothing stopping him from doing it again." Now for the 4-month update. Christmas came and went, and I did not speak to him this year. A couple of days after my original post, I made a report to the police. They said this happens a lot, and they gave me a form to fill out. I received a case number and disputed the account with the credit companies. Maybe 2 weeks after I did that, a guy showed up at my house and served me with a lawsuit. The weird thing was, the account dropped off of my credit completely, and my credit score shot up back to where it was. Even so, I feel like the company that gave the loan was trying to get a judgment against me, probably hoping I wouldn't show up to court. I ended up filling out a FOIA request for the actual police report. When the court date came, their lawyer offered to settle for $15,000. I gave them the police report, and they were actually way more cool about it than I expected. He said he'd send it to the company and request a continuance, but that I should show up to the continuance date. The second court date was last week, and the lawyer wasn't even there. Apparently, shortly after the first court date, he filed a motion to dismiss. As far as I know, this is over with, but it still shows I've been sued in a public records search. Is there any way to get that removed? I'm also enclosing for a house. I really appreciate everyone for their advice. You've all saved me from a lot of debt and years of ruined credit. Now for a few more comments. One commenter said, "The lawsuit was filed. That's a public record and can't be reversed. The dismissal should also be a public record. Because there was no judgment, it isn't a negative item for credit reporting." Another added, "OP could just check the court docket to confirm that they withdrew the complaint and that the matter is closed. Might want to do that and save the docket report for own records too." Am I the idiot for refusing to co-sign my sister's mortgage and prioritizing my own future over family guilt trips? I have been busting my butt for years to save for my own house. I work in software, so I make decent money, but it still takes forever to build up a good down payment. Meanwhile, my younger sister is in grad school with barely any credit. Our parents found a house near them and decided she needs it. They made an offer without telling me, and now the deal only goes through if I co-sign. The problem? I had no clue they'd do this. My parents basically dropped a bomb. "You have the best credit score. Co-sign so your sister can get the house." They also hinted I should chip in for the down payment because you've got the money. If I co-sign, I'll be on the hook if my sister can't pay. She's still in school, has debt, and zero backup plan. The bank might also reject my future mortgage application since they'll see I'm already tied to another loan. But my parents say I'm selfish and forgetting family values. My sister's calling me a monster for leaving her stranded, and my mom threatened to cut off any future financial help, like wedding money, if I don't help right now. Some relatives think it's insane my parents tried to rope me into this after they already made the offer. Others say I should just do it for the family's sake. I feel guilty, but also mad they put me in this spot. Am I wrong for protecting my own finances, or are they wrong for strong-arming me into co-signing a mortgage I never wanted in the first place? I'm actually adopted, forgot to mention in my confused and angry state. My parents adopted me when I was very young because they'd been struggling to conceive. A few years later, they had my younger sister naturally, which was a huge deal to them. She was their miracle baby. Ever since, it's felt like my role in the family became the older, adopted one, while she was the golden child who could do no wrong. Growing up, I was expected to pitch in more, be more responsible, and generally look out for my sister. I worked my butt off in school, snagged scholarships, and eventually landed a good job in software. All the while, I felt like my family mostly saw me as the fallback option in case anyone needed financial or emotional support. Now that I'm actually building my own life, saving for a house, focusing on my career, I'm realizing how my success just makes me look like a bigger piggy bank to my parents. The more independent I become, the clearer it is that I need to separate myself from the constant guilt trips and the unspoken expectation that I'll always bail them or my sister out. I love them, but I can't keep sacrificing my own future to maintain a dynamic where I'm never the priority. So thank you all for the wake-up call. Update to come. Now for a few comments. One commenter said, "Absolutely do not co-sign. You're not wrong if you refuse. Let your mom not pay for the wedding. If she's threatening now, she will again. In the end, she probably won't. But that's not the main reason not to co-sign. The main reason is there is a huge chance you will be in debt for a house that is not yours." Another commenter added, "Spoiler, they won't pay for your wedding anyway. They are broke. Please don't sign. It will mess you up in ways you can't even imagine yet." Then another commenter said, "Why is sister the one that needs to own a house?" Someone else pointed out, "So your sister is the golden child and you are not. Don't co-sign the loan. Tell your parents to give your sister the wedding money, and since your finances won't be a mess, as they would if you co-sign the loan, you'll pay for your own wedding, and we'll be sure to send them a picture, since obviously they won't be there. Tell them how much you appreciate them freeing you from having to care for them as they age, since that will fall 100% to your sister. You're not wrong, but your family is really toxic. Judgment. You're not wrong. Now for the one-day update. Okay, so here's where I'm at. I'm absolutely not signing my sister's mortgage, and I'm definitely not pitching in for any down payment. This whole thing was the final push I needed to realize how messed up our family dynamic has been for ages. I mean, I've always known it was bad, but having them basically try to volunteer me and my finances without even asking just crossed a line I can't ignore anymore. I'm done. I've decided to cut ties. I'm already in the process of dropping any financial entanglements we might have, cutting off shared accounts, making sure they can't use my information for anything, and basically scrubbing them from my finances. My job lets me work remotely, so I'm planning to move out of state soon. That was always in the back of my mind, but now it feels urgent. I need space, distance, and a real shot at a normal life without the constant guilt trips. I'm also locking down my credit, freezing it, changing passwords, everything. I'm not taking any chances that someone might try to open a line of credit in my name. I've seen enough horror stories, and I'm not about to become one. Thankfully, I'm not alone in all this. My close friends have been incredible. They're basically my real family at this point, helping me pack, offering me a place to stay if I need it, reminding me that I'm not crazy for wanting to protect my future. They've been the biggest source of support, and I'm honestly so grateful to have them in my corner. So yeah, that's it. I'm not signing. I'm leaving. I'm done. If my family wants to blow up at me for abandoning them, so be it. I've got to look out for myself, my credit, and my sanity. Here's to hoping things only get better from here. Everyone who commented their 2 cents are amazing people, and I thank you all for your support while I'm dealing with this. Truly thank you. Now for some additional comments. One commenter advised, be sure to freeze your credit with all 3 bureaus and freeze your social security number as well. Another commenter suggested, I would also contact the financial institution that is issuing the mortgage and tell them you're not involved in case they forge your signature. They have your social security number and may have already had the bank run your information. Finally, someone else encouraged, perhaps a new phone number when you move. Also, I wouldn't tell them your address. Yeah, I move out west when you really moved east, north, south. Lock or privatize your socials and look up gray rocking towards your family. Your life is about to open up and flourish, and I'm so excited for you.